Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan. So as I'm sure you already know, episode 6 is all over the internet. But surprisingly, this time it wasn't hackers. It was actually HBO who screwed up and uploaded the episode before realizing their mistake. But it was too late, which is awesome for us since we get to watch it 5 days in advance. And what a crazy episode it was. If you haven't seen it yet, don't watch this episode breakdown as there will obviously be spoilers. So the episode picks up right where we left off, with John and company north of the wall trying to get a white to bring back as evidence. John tries to give Longclaw to Jorah since it's rightfully his. If you can remember, it's the sword Jorah Mormont gave to Jon Snow back in season 1, but Jorah refuses and tells him to keep it. In Winterfell, Arya confronts Sansa about the letter she wrote back in season 1, one in which she implored Robb to come swear fealty to Joffrey. This is of course an attempt by Littlefinger to drive a wedge between the two sisters. In a later scene, he even indirectly suggests to Sansa that Brienne is available to do anything for her, even if it means protecting her from Arya. And while it's a good attempt from Littlefinger, his intentions just seem so obvious, and I think this time Sansa sees right through his deceit. Even Brienne warns her multiple times about Littlefinger in this episode, and she sends Brienne to King's Landing, which shows us that she's not influenced by Littlefinger at all. Next we are shown Daenerys and Tyrion talking, and the whole time it felt as if her attitude towards him is totally different. Daenerys is extremely standoffish, and anything he says she quickly refutes.
Your Grace, I saw hundreds of arrows fly towards you when you fought on the Blackwater Rush, and I saw hundreds of arrows miss. But any one of them could have found your heart and ended you.
You've been thinking about my death quite a bit, haven't you?
It's clear to me that her trust in his advice is fading quickly. I think this is due to a few reasons. First, she's not happy that Tyrion's war strategy lost them Dorne and Highgarden. He also went to visit Jaime, and even though Daenerys knew about that, it could have furthered the doubt that she already had in her mind. And I think her talk with Olenna struck a chord.
He's a clever man, your hand. I've known a great many clever men. I've outlived them all. You know why? I ignored them.
Back north of the wall, the group gets attacked by a white bear, and Thoros of Myr gets mauled pretty terribly, but he still manages to climb a mountain with the help of booze. And this is where the episode really starts popping off. Jon and company ambush a group of whites and a White Walker, and as soon as Jon slays the White Walker, all the whites crumple and die. This and the next couple of scenes give us a ton of information on the whites and the White Walkers. When Jon and company are trying to escape the whites don't run right at them like you think they would. Instead, they make a tactical maneuver and surround the group. This scene just goes to show that the White Walkers and the Night King specifically are in full control of their army. It almost looks to me like an advanced form of warging, where there is one hive mind, the Night King, governing the actions of all whites. So in theory, if you somehow manage to kill the Night King, which of course is not an easy task, but if you manage to do it, his whole army dies with him. Because without the magical abilities of the White Walkers, the whites are basically just a pile of bones. The lake freezes over not long after, and the battle beyond the wall begins with Jon and company basically trying to bide time for Daenerys to come and help. And right as the group is surrounded and out of options, Daenerys arrives with her 3 dragons, and we all know how effective fire is against whites. They manage to take out a good number of whites and save the group, but in the process, the Night King throws an ice spear at Viserion, pretty much killing him instantly. In the 4th episode of season 7, we found out that the dragons can be injured, and now we know that with just one ice spear, the Night King can kill a dragon. Jon Snow gets left behind by Daenerys after he gets caught out, but of course he's not going to die a second time, at least not yet. Benjen Stark comes to his rescue and gives up his own life so Jon can make it back to the wall. In Winterfell, Sansa and Arya have a really strange interaction, and she learns more about what Arya's been doing all this time. At one point, it looks as if Arya is going to attack Sansa, but she ends up handing the knife over to her. Although this whole conversation was extremely creepy and weird on Arya's part, her handing over the knife, to me that feels like an act of trust, and I believe it's Arya's way of showing Sansa that they're on the same side. This act also shows Sansa that Arya means her no harm and will not be telling anyone else about the letter as Littlefinger wanted. Just going off that, it seems as if Littlefinger is so weak right now in terms of his power. He's resorted to trying to turn Arya and Sansa against each other, and it looks like even that isn't working. Everyone knows his intentions, the kind of man he is, and what he's capable of. He already manipulated Sansa once, and I find it hard to believe he can do it again. Bran sees right through him, and so does Arya.
Imagine chaos is a ladder.
And Jon almost killed him in episode 2. His whole game is staying in the shadows and working behind the scenes without anyone's knowledge, but too many people know who he is, and this episode cemented just how desperate he's become. In one of the last scenes, Daenerys goes to see Jon, and by now, she definitely knows he died and came back to life as all the scars on his chest are visible. They have a long talk while holding hands, and it's becoming clearer and clearer that incest is in both their futures. In the final scene, we see Viserion being pulled out of the lake and getting resurrected by the Night King. I'm pretty sure Viserion is now considered to be an ice dragon, which means he will now breathe ice instead of fire, which is gonna be so sick. I really hope we get to see a bit of undead Viserion in the final episode of the season. Alright, that's all I got for you guys. I hope I caught some things that maybe you didn't see. Let me know in the comments. See you next time.